but Alex, I was actually, you kind of already answered the question that I had planned to ask you, which is about, whether or not if we see something like a digital dollar come, onto the scene, will it have programmable scarcity or something like that? But I guess I still want to ask you, to talk a little bit about, as we see these technological advances moving into our national government systems, is it possible that blockchain could work with monetary policy to create, a financial system that's much more healthy? Is it going to come from a policy level, or do you believe that it's going to come from this sort of like this personal choice element? Are people going to just choose something like Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever instead?
Yes, I just published 2 days ago on Medium an article about Janet Yellen and kind of like
Mm,
the misfortune that our economy is going to go through. Not, I'm not talking about being a Democrat or Republican. It's more about continuing this Keynesian thinking and modern monetary theory thinking that you can just press the print button as many times as you want and nothing
yeah.
happens, right? So there is not a single person in Treasury or in the Fed that I know that is still talking about scarcity or some kind of a peg between GDP and how much money there is in the system or gold or anything like that, right? So we are, it's like the cartoons where the character is flying over the cliff and is still in the air in the first few seconds. It's like, it looks like, oh, I can do it. I can do it. So we're right in that moment, right? We're about to crash and everybody's still thinking, like, no, look, we're still hovering, like, so there is no basis for what's happening, right? And just a simple illustration of what I'm talking about. So this year, I know we all live in crypto and we're all excited that it doubled 100, Bitcoin doubled or went up even more than that. But in the real world, the government reported less than 2% inflation. And at the same time, CPI inflation, consumer price index, right? And at the same time, printed 20% more dollars. Just this year, we printed 20% of all the dollars that ever existed. So the inflation in dollar term is 20%, but the inflation in how much it costs you to get internet access or order Uber Eats is less than 2%. So scarcity sooner or later is going to come to be, and we either going to have to repeg to the gold, which means gold will go back to $8,000 or $9,000 per ounce, or we're going to have to price it in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is going to be worth 50 or 60 or $70,000. So the reality is going to hit us. The question is it going to be 22 or 25 or 2030, right? So that's unfortunately all we're doing is we're kicking the can down the road and making our kids or grandkids carry this enormous debt that is completely unsafe.
Right, exactly.
No, I'm
And
sorry, I'm not as
uh,
funny and entertaining as Nico because so I am realist and what I'm working on, everything I'm working on, right, at Celsius and so on, is creating an alternative system. And all you have to do is transport yourself and put 10-20% of your assets there. And if I'm right, you have an insurance policy that's completely detached from this fiat world. If I'm wrong, you still have 80 or 90% of your assets doing what they're supposed to be doing. So I think a lot of people kind of completely want to ignore this and say, look, it worked for 20 years, it worked for 30 years in Japan, and it's going to continue working, right? But if you just project yourself into the future a little bit, you will see that that there is no way that we can continue printing this. And look, next year they're going to print another $3 or $4 trillion,
I think that,
guaranteed.
yeah, Alex, I agree with you. I think that's why you're seeing a very kind of a bullish run in our asset class sector today and across the board, right? Because of diversification, people are now understanding the monetary authority, what's happening based upon the pandemic, the global pandemic that we're going through, and our governments are having to do what they're doing. And you're right, kicking the can down the road, and people are going, okay, well, let me take a little bit of control of what I can allocate, and let me allocate 5, 10, 15, 20% of my traditional assets into this new asset class. to have that insurance policy and diversification. It is all about diverse asset class diversification of investments. I agree with you.